So I'm still fairly new to this hobby, but one keyboard I have yet to try is a KeyChron. I found this one used on Facebook Marketplace, but the problem with it is I'm not sure if it comes across on the camera. I will try to kind of move it up here. This thing is just uber gross. I mean, gamer gunk to the extreme, and to be honest with you, I'm a little afraid of it. I can't wait to tear it apart and wash my hands. I'm going to insert a couple pictures here. This is a close-up of what it looked like in the ad, and you can see kind of all the stuff in the background, and you just know it wasn't in a clean environment. And then this second picture here where the keyboard's just in the background, this was an ad for something else they were selling. They were selling this like harmonica holder. And if you look at that desk, I grew up in the country, like in a village, and I can tell you, I'm pretty sure that's mouse droppings. I'm a little afraid that this probably has maybe mouse pee or whatever else on it, so I kind of cannot wait to just get it stripped down and cleaned off. Here is a Q-tip that I was rubbing on a keycap just to kind of show you how dirty this thing really is. Like I said, I don't know if it's coming through on the camera, but there's like so much gamer gunk on this thing, it's not even funny. This might be the grossest keyboard I've ever seen. And there's another gross thing about it. It's got blues. And this is a KeyChron V1, which means it's not hot swap. So if I want to change the switches, which I might, I'm going to have to desolder this whole thing. I'm still a little undecided on that at the moment. I don't know. All I want to do right now is clean it. So step one is going to be to get these keycaps off. I'm not sure if you can see it, but what it turns out that what most of this is this person was obviously a smoker that smoked indoors around their equipment. I'm not gonna lie to you, I am a smoker. I know that I should quit. You know, I really want to. It's not easy, I get it. But I stopped smoking in my house in 2006. I had moved into a new apartment and I just did not want my things to reek of cigarettes anymore. And I knew that it was bad for electronics, so I stopped smoking indoors. And if you're not going to quit smoking altogether, for the love of God, please quit smoking indoors. It's bad for you, your family, your pets, your things. I'm going to take this outdoors and blow it off, brush it off with a broom, and try to get rid of some of this before I go any further. We managed to clean our plate up a little bit and liberate it from the case of the keyboard. And as you can see, there is just an ass ton more tobacco inside the case, and it's all sticky and nasty and gross. To remove the plate, there are 12 small screws, and then you have these metal side panels, which are 4 more screws, which need to be removed with a Torx bit. Now we got to get this cleaned out as well. Again, please, you know, if you're gonna be a dummy and smoke like me, don't smoke in your house and don't smoke around your electronics. It's really not good. Oh my god. Let's get these other metal panels off. They're like stuck to it. It's really freaking nasty. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go outside and try to get this cleaned out as well. Alright, I got most of that out. You can still see there's like an extremely gross, like sticky wet spot over here. So there really is no hope for this case except for to wash it out. To do that, I need to get this battery out of here. But they glue these batteries down. I'm a little terrified trying to take them out, because I really don't want a lithium battery like blowing up in my face or anything. All right. Update. I finally feel safe for the first time today holding this thing. I have scrubbed the case down. First I took a bunch of rubbing alcohol to it to get the nasty sticky stuff out of this corner. Sprayed the entire case down with degreaser and scrubbed it. So our case is nice and clean and smells good. Our screws are currently soaking in some Evapo rust because there was a little bit of rust on some of them. This stuff is pretty magical. Throw stuff in there and let it sit for a while, a couple hours at least. I like to let it just sit overnight, and then get everything out of here and put oil on it, and you will have no more rust. Here are all of our keycaps soaking in degreaser and Dawn dish soap, as well as the extension feet for the keyboard and the little sliders which let you choose Mac or PC and Bluetooth, etc. What we're gonna do now is work on cleaning and restoring these side rails. They're just aluminum rails. They're a little dirty, so we are just gonna clean them up. We are probably gonna go through here with Q-tips and some rubbing alcohol to get any sticky remnants out. Then I have a black paint marker, which this black is almost like blue. If you look at it against my desk mat, it's very close. I don't know if it just faded or what, but it's almost blue. But you can see we have a lot of little scratches and stuff. We are gonna hit those with the black paint marker. I could sand these down and completely repaint them. It requires a lot of prep work that I don't feel like doing. So we're gonna clean these up and take a black paint marker to them and just hide the little scuffs. Our rails have been cleaned with a heavy degreaser. We got all the cigarette smoke off them and all the gunk. And now what I'm doing is trying to touch up these tiny spots. This marker's a little big to try to use on here, so I don't want to use the marker on something this small. So I'm just using a Q-tip and getting the paint on it and trying to get as little paint on the actual piece as humanly possible. I think I have come to a decision, and that is kind of crappy, but kind of cool, I think. So I don't think I am going to mod this keyboard in any way. What I'm going to do is simply restore it as is the best I can. The reason for that is the KeyChron K2 V1, sort of an important keyboard as far as like this hobby goes. As much as I hate blue switches, and as much as this looks like kind of a cool platform for modding, I don't think I'm gonna mod this just for the purpose of my collection. I think it would be cooler to kind of just restore it, you know, keep it with my other boards as a bit of an artifact. Now, I know that it's probably not worth it, and there's a bunch of them out there. Could very easily get another one. I don't know, this one will have the story of me redoing it. I think it's almost cooler to just leave it alone. Trust me, that's kind of a bummer because, you know, I got some Jwick Black Linear V2s that I was going to put in here, and I'm really excited to try these switches out because I have the Black Linear V2s in the last keyboard I built, but they were the heavier spring weight, which felt a little too heavy for me personally. I loved the switches, I just didn't like the extra weight, and I already ordered keycaps that should be here like tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a bummer to not mod it, but I don't know. I think it's sort of cool to take this cigarette saturated piece of crap and just try to bring it back to life. Plus, that gives me an excuse to buy another board to put these in. So I'm not entirely sure if you can see what I'm actually doing, but I'm just saturating this toothpick with paint, and then I'm painting these silver spots with the toothpick. Now you might ask why I don't just take the black paint marker and slather it on. I already tried that. Like I said, this black kind of has a bluish hue to it. Putting the paint marker directly on top of it looked a little funny, and I had to remove it and start over. Now I'm trying to be dainty with it. This corner I'm not going to be so dainty with because there's a lot of missing paint right here. I don't know. I think now it kind of feels like a challenge. Let's see if we can get the rest of the gross off this plate. See if we can mod the stabilizers in place. Clean up the PCB because you know whatever dude spilled into the keyboard got on the PCB. All right, here we effing go. That is all cleaned up. I think that looks about a million times better. And what we are going to do now is try to mod our stabilizers in place. So we have now lubed our stabs, and I know maybe you're thinking, dude, did you just say you were gonna mod this like at all? Well, the thing is, like, I really do not consider modding stabilizers or tuning stabilizers rather to be a mod. I consider it to be a necessity, because who wants to listen to rattly stabilizers? I know that I do not, and this thing's already got blues in it, so it's already got that working against it. You loud clicky bastards. That's the one thing about choosing to not mod this is like, yeah, but it's gonna have blues in it. That's okay. Like, I really truly don't mind blues. Like, I do not mind the clicky switch. I feel like maybe a lot of us sort of secretly love a nice clicky switch just because the satisfaction. It's just the most like asshole switch you can choose. It's just like saying, you know, I have no respect for anyone who lives anywhere near me or works near me if you're gonna rock the blues, you know. And I have another switch or another board right now with blue switches in it, and I guess the fact that I'm leaving the blues in here means that I can take the blues out of that one. What's next? So we got our keycaps in a bowl with degreaser and Dawn dish detergent, and basically I'm just gonna give them a quick scrub down. I'm not gonna do it in here because it's gonna make a mess. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm doing. Just gonna scrub the keycaps down with a toothbrush, get all the grime off them. Alright, so our screws have come out of the evapo-rust, and I'm just dropping some oil, some 3-in-1 oil in onto them. Want to kind of saturate them, and that's just going to protect them from rusting in the future. We've got our little side switches back in. Now we just need to plug our PC back into the battery, which is always difficult for my giant banana hands. And now we are going to set our board back in and try to make sure our side switches are functioning. And they seem to be. Now we can put our end and side rails back on. I am correct. Oh, what a difference. Wow, that slides on a lot easier when it's clean. Nothing left but our keycaps, which have dried at this point. Alright, here's what our RGB looks like on this keyboard. The caps are shine through, so that's kind of nice. I did get them cleaned up as much as I could. There is still a little bit of shine on some of the caps, but not too bad. Alright, well, this thing is done. As done as it's gonna get for now anyway. I tried typing on this board for about a week, and if I'm honest with you, I absolutely hate it. I can understand why they had to do a V2 and why so many people were actually disappointed with this board. The angle of this board is extremely flat and your hands are almost facing downward. The only way I can type on this at all is to flip the feet all the way up, which is an angle I don't really like typing at either. After all that cleaning, I would say that the switches are still very stiff, at least some of them. And my guess would be if I went through here with contact cleaner and blew out all the switches, this keyboard would type better. I think that the nicotine that was everywhere inside this, or whatever was spilled in this board, also polluted the switches. So the switches, they're not sticky, they're just stiff. They don't feel good at all. I think it's a good board to just have in my collection just for the sake of having it. Will I type on it ever? No. I do not like the feel. I would really like to try the V2 version and see how much better it actually is if I liked it with the lower front end, different switches. Definitely, I would definitely prefer it to be hot swappable so I could put in switches I prefer. Anyway, let's give it a little typing test and see how it sounds.